people be like, I'm not afraid of being laid off. Or people be like, oh my God, I was blindsided, but they laid me off and I don't understand how this happened. Did y'all not learn anything in 2020? No job is safe. Nobody owes you a job. If you feel safe in your job right now, you're lazy. If you feel safe in your job right now, you're delusional. If you feel safe in your job right now, shame on you. You should not be blindsided by a layoff. You should not be blaming them for why they escorted you out the door, because when they lay people off now, they come and they tell them in like Slack message or on email, and it's sudden. And if you're not prepared, you're devastated, and then you fall apart, and then you take your victim self to the next job trying to get them to open the door for you, and then you get mad because they don't, because you're an angry victim. You're going to carry your emotions and how you felt about people doing you wrong, or your anger, or you feeling sorry for yourself to the next job and wondering why you turning them off, even though you can run circles around 90% of the people in that organization. Your sorrow and feeling sorry for yourself is not attractive to your next opportunity. So I want to offer you some information on how to prepare for a layoff so you don't have to wait until the ish hit the fan before you get ready to leave. Welcome everyone. Well, I'm your host, Christy Rutherford, and today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for a layoff. So while you're here, go ahead and like and subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a comment, leave us a review, and let us know that we're the greatest thing ever. But I really want you to just catch up on some of the things that we've talked about, because I want you to be in a position to pick up your bed and walk when the time comes. So how do you prepare for a layoff? Why do I want to talk about it? I'm talking to people. People be like, oh, I'm not afraid of being laid off. I'm like, what is going on? Oh, I'm not. Or people be like, oh my God, I was blindsided, but they laid me off and I don't understand how this happened. Did y'all not learn anything in 2020? No job is safe. I recently read that Tesla laid off, 5,000 of its electronic charging station people in the middle of the night, and they were all shocked and devastated. Why? Why did you think your job was safe? You're lazy. I said it. Like, why? Nobody owes you a job. If you feel safe in your job right now, you're lazy. If you feel safe in your job right now, you're delusional. If you feel safe in your job right now, shame on you. Y'all don't like it when I say it? I mean it. You should not be blindsided by a layoff. You should not be blaming them for why they escorted you out the door, because when they lay people off now, they come and they tell them in like Slack message or on email, and it's sudden. So, and if you're not prepared, you're devastated, and then you fall apart, and then you take your victim self to the next job trying to get them to open the door for you, and then you get mad because they don't, because you're an angry victim. So you're going to carry your emotions and how you felt about people doing you wrong, or your anger, or you feeling sorry for yourself to the next job and wondering why you turning them off, even though you can run circles around 90% of the people in that organization. Your sorrow and feeling sorry for yourself is not attractive to your next opportunity. So I want to offer you some information on how to prepare for a layoff so you don't have to wait until the ish hit the fan before you get ready to leave. Now, let me tell y'all something. Okay, so I was in the military, right? And we stayed for 20 years. As long as I work 80 hours a week, which I ain't have to, but whatever. As long as I work and do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm promotable, which I was, because I'm the greatest ever, let's be clear, I was pretty much guaranteed retirement as long as I worked for it, right? And so I knew that if I did all these things and said all the right things, I'm trying to build all these relationships, which is what I'm teaching in this podcast, that my job was secure. But what had happened was, I think I was at the 11th year, because at year 10, you make the decision whether or not you're going to stay for the next 10. I would have retired when I was 40. And so that's a big decision of, am I going to leave or am I going to stay? Well, I love my job. I hated my life. I love my job, but I didn't really know what I did outside of my job. So I had this tunnel vision. And so, because I gave my job my everything, basically proving people wrong and what they said I couldn't do, so I didn't have anything outside of that, even though I had been offered jobs at least once a month. And how do people offer you jobs once a month? They be like, you loyal to the Coast Guard, huh? I be like, oh man, I'm hard to the guard. Like I'm in it. They be like, oh, how long are you gonna be there? Now, had I said, oh, I got like 6 months left, they would have been like, you want a job? And I'd be like this, oh no, I got 10 years left. So they're not directly saying, do you want to work with me? They're just having these lead arbitrary comments that if somebody who's locked in, or I would say not as locked in to like being loyal to dysfunction, and you're kind of open to a pleasant conversation, I would have known that these people were actually offering me jobs. But it's like, so I think it was in year 11, and this lady lied and said that me and my personnel gave her classified material. Yo, I don't think I ever told this story publicly, but the investigative service, so it's like our NCIS came to my office from DC, and they were like, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I said, what the F-U-C-K? I'm Christy Rutherford, one, the greatest ever. Two, I was a part of the Hurricane Katrina response. I shook hands with the president. Three, I had just gotten an award for being one of the top female junior officers in the organization. How you gonna read me my rights and tell me I have the right to remain silent? I was devastated, and I'm sitting there in disbelief like, oh, S-H-I-T. Now, I had money saved. I didn't have enough money saved. I think I was making about $80,000 a year at the time. I didn't have enough money saved to be able to sustain my lifestyle because I'm bougie, okay? I had experience and qualifications, but I had not taken stock on how my skills transfer into other organizations. I was tired, stressed out, crazy, working 80 hours a week. So if my career is done that day, I would have been disoriented because I had not planned. I didn't have a plan B. And I was just like, what? Right? So that would have been the equivalent of that, but I would have been, let go. And the leaders in the organization were so embarrassed, even after they investigated, they wanted somebody to fry for that, which just for them being embarrassed, they were going to shank me. But luckily at the time I had some bosses who I was highly valuable to, and they stuck up for me once they figured out that we didn't give this psychopath classified information. Now here's the thing. I was at that moment more disappointed that I wasn't ready to leave what I thought was secure. Because I did all the right things and said all the right things, went to all the Christmas parties, worked, and like I just told y'all, I was the ish. And I wasn't ready to be blindsided. But I said what will never happen again is this right here. This feeling of being vulnerable and putting my whole life in the hands of other people to decide whether or not I'm disposable, that woke me up. So, what did I do? Number one, I started to save my money. I had money, but I didn't have enough money. So, I started to change my lifestyle. I bought a smaller car that wasn't a gas guzzler. I was in Houston at the time. I drove a Durango, which was a V8 that just drank ridiculous amounts of gas. I got a V4. I got a 4-cylinder so I can save money on gas. I ended up renting a room for my friend in her house that cut my rent for my apartment in half. I put my stuff in storage and I rented a room from her. So I started to stack all that money. I actually got a part-time job. People don't know that because I wasn't supposed to get this job. But I got a part-time job as a waitress. Because I like being a waitress. You get to talk to people and you make money. I wasn't doing it on the weekends. I should have been getting a life, but whatever. Side story. I started to stack that money. So I downsized the cable bill and I was looking at like a phone bill. So I started to downsize the fluff. I stopped eating out as much. So I just started to stack my money. I started investing my money and I started to stack my money. So the number one way to prepare for layoff is to get an adequate understanding of how you're showing up financially. That's a part of the work that we do in my program. And I don't know if I want to share it here, but I guess it's already out the bag. I just said it, so I'm going to keep going. Well, we get an accurate understanding of how much you got. If you lost your job today, is the question that I always ask. How long can you survive financially before you start to lose assets? That's not a question that we're willing to explore. That's a question that keeps a lot of women up at night. But here's the thing that I know about a lot of women. Some women are so crazy and working themselves to death that they don't realize they got $500,000 in the bank. What? Exactly. One of my clients almost had 2 near fatal car accidents from driving home late at night, and she had $250,000 cash in the bank. One client that I had, I asked her, how long could you survive if you lose your job? Because your job driving you crazy, and you complaining, and you miserable. How long could you survive? She was like, well, if I liquidate my assets. I said, why is this a hard question? Yes, if you liquidate your assets. If I look at all my assets. This lady said 23 years. That's before she counted her father's money. So the number one way to prepare for layoff is to get an adequate picture of where you are right now. And how long could you survive is if the ish hits the fan, because a lot of y'all are telling a lie to yourself because you haven't stopped long enough to be able to count how much money you got and coming to the realization you really don't have to work yourself to death. You got enough money to live for the next 2-3 years and take a break. Don't break in a job, but take a break. But if you don't have it, like I didn't have it at the time, I think I had like $30,000 saved, and I didn't know. That was number one. I ain't have enough. So I started to stack my money. So that's the first one. How long can you survive financially if the ish hits the fan? Add it up. And then downsize some things. What can you let go of so you can stack your cash so you're not nervous? If they tell you that your time is up, you pick up your bed and you walk. You be like, thank you so much for the opportunity. And then you go somewhere else because you know you have enough money to survive for a year or 18 months without a job. Or 3 months without a job. You're not freaked out. You're freaked out because you don't know and you haven't even explored the question. And a lot of y'all can relax because you can survive without a job. Number 2, taking adequate responsibility and being able to articulate who you are, what value you bring to another organization. I always think that you should be exploring other opportunities anyway. We can't keep getting mad that the men will use these jobs as stepping stones and we the cornerstone stuck in the corner, be in the background and everybody else's foreground. One of my clients was it was an organization, a tech organization. They always had high turnover. She had been there for 5 different boss rotations. She had supported 5 men as they came in and out, checked that box in their job, they was gone. They come in and work 8 months to about 13 months. They got that on their resume. They go and they leapfrog to the next organization. So she was always the person picking up the pieces and serving in the gaps as they hire somebody else. I said, well, why won't you apply for the job? You're doing it. Oh, I don't think I can do it. You're doing it anyway, and you have done it for 5 bosses. Why don't you think that you deserve that job? They will give it to you because they don't want this rotating door. Companies want people who will stay. She had been there for 5 years and refused to believe that she could do the job that she was already doing. She just didn't ask for it. Ding, ding. Hello. What are you talking about? Man, of course she got the job. She raised her hand and said, I can do it. She was already doing it, y'all, for 5 years. And they said, okay. Let's get this money, though. But anyway, so have you taken stock of how great you are? We talked about it in the previous episode of the resume course. That's how you're able to clearly articulate who you are. But I did it so I can be able to teach you how to take accountability for who you are. So take stock of who you are and you'll understand how your skills transfer to other places. Number 3, look for other opportunities. By the time my boss came and started harassing me, In my last 3.5 years that I ended up retiring, that I ended up resigning before I retired. So I left early. It was insane for me to leave. And I didn't know at the time, and I need to thank that lady who lied on me, because without that awakening 5 years before that, I started preparing for my way out when I didn't need it. So when the SHIT really hit the fan and I'm being harassed and persecuted and all these things are going on, I stopped one day and realized I had $100,000 saved. I had plans all the way up to AA. I had 30 plans in my back pocket of what could happen if it hit, because I wasn't going to allow that to happen to me again. So I knew who I was, what I brought to an organization, and what I could do. Now, I was still crazy, though. It's a whole different podcast. But it's like, so once I understood that I had a breaking case of emergency glass, I broke the case and ran for my life. I did it wrong because I started a business, which is what I don't recommend, and blew that $100,000 out of the window. But had I just gotten a job, or had I left early enough, I had to keep backsliding. Had I left early enough and wasn't so crazy that I was psychologically unemployable, I probably could have gotten a job. Like, I was offered 4 jobs the first week I got out by people that I knew. 10 jobs in the first 2 months. People were like, "You did what? You need a job?" I was like, man, please. I was so crazy, y'all. I was like, nope. So I want y'all to be able to prepare to exit an organization before you're desperate, before you're crazy, before you're broken, before you one click from having a nervous breakdown. If you took stock of who you were and understood how much money you have, we wouldn't put up with toxic work environments. If we stopped fighting for the dream job and understand that, what's the point of having a dream job if your life sucks? Then your life could be better. What I want you to get clear on right now is, what is the lifestyle that you want today? Are you operating in your present life based on old data? Are you measuring success today based on the measurements that you created 10, 15, 20 years ago? Have you hit refresh on what's the vision for your life, because you have what they say you couldn't have and you're still miserable and crazy? So it's time to stop saying, if I want a job to give me more flexibility, and if I had this type of job, then I can have more freedom. If I had this type of job, then I can have more, I can travel more. I want you to write down, what do you want? What's going to make you happy today? Not the old raggedy thing, that the vision that you had at 20, because that's a lie. We were all lied to. People are like, oh, if you have the dog and the 2 kids and the husband and the white picket fence and the BMW in the front yard, you're going to be healthy and whole. No, now you're crazy. With the dog and the kids and the husband, crazier, because you haven't taken stock of what you want. So I want you to write down, this is a dream life. Travel first class, otherwise you're flying in spirit. You want luxury travel. You want time freedom. Either you want to live in a different country or not. You want to go into a different office or not. You want to have direct reports or not. You don't have to have more direct reports to make more money. That's not true. Do you want to work in, an office downtown or a satellite office? Do you what do you want? Do you want to work, a flexible work schedule? Do you want to go into the office 5 days a week, or do you want every other Friday off? What do you want? Do you want to be able to do keynote speeches and write in professional journals, or no, because that's important to some people and not important to others? Do you want to be able to talk on panels and use the organization's name in the background, because in some organizations they don't allow you to do that? I want you to get clear on, what does success mean to you today? Not answering your phone on the weekends and after 5 o'clock because you got kids that need you and a spouse that needs you, or you're single and you're touching your own leg at night. You need to be able to have the capacity and the mental energy to go out and meet somebody else. You can't do that if you're working 80 hours a week. I did it. So when you have the menu for what success means to you today and what kind of lifestyle you want today, when you go look for jobs, the jobs have to give you what you wrote down and what you outlined. That's like you not knowing what you want and you're going in Chipotle, but you actually want a burger. Well, why are you standing in Chipotle? You got all the way up to the front to see that they didn't have burgers. Right? Like, what do you want? You're more clear on what your preference is on your coffee and how that's going to, make you feel than you are with how you're ordering your job. You're more specific on what you like at Chipotle. I like Chipotle. When I come to America, I like to eat Chipotle. It makes me happy. Black beans, pinto beans, the pico, the corn, the white rice, a little bit of rice, lots of beans with the lettuce and guacamole on the side. Give me the chips. They delicious because they were fried that day, and with the water now because I'm 40-something, but when I was 30-something, I would get the sweet tea. But I'm just saying, like, y'all see, it's delicious. It's delicious. It's delicious. And in California, I don't know what they put on the beans, but they was touched by the hands of Jesus. I was like, oh, God, this is the best Chipotle ever with some hot sauce on it. And now I like Chipotle, right? Now, but when you go to your job, you be like, what y'all gonna give me? Nothing. When you go to your job, you be like, oh, I'm not sure. You haven't specified what you want, and you get to the job and figure out they got steak and chicken. Well, I don't eat that. So we're already at a disadvantage because you didn't outline what you wanted, and then when you go to the job, you not have your menu. You're not standing there in line waiting to get all the way to the interview to figure out they don't have what you wanted, or you don't like what they are, or even worse, getting hired in the job just to find out it ain't what you wanted. But you never clearly articulated what you wanted. You just take anything. And then you get abused. Oh, I just need a job. Oh, God. Women say that. Man, get out my inbox. Get off my phone. Get off my webinar. Get out my face. You can't be like, I just need a job and then cry foul. You can't be like, oh, I just need a job and then say they not paying me my value. You can't be like, oh, I just take anything. I'm just desperate. My kids need food and all this other kind of stuff. Here's the thing. I got this lady who was in my inbox one time. And she was going on and on and on. And then she's like, oh, everybody's saying I'm overqualified and they're not hiring me. And I don't understand, and they don't want me in their organization, and I don't understand why they keep saying that I'm overqualified, and let's not even talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room, they don't want a strong black woman in the room. I said, the real elephant in the room is you being a desperate black woman with all that experience that you got. Oh, my God. I thought I was talking to a sensible person. Now, she's already a victim. There's these mentors that I used to work with a long time ago. They said, never hang around a victim because they looking for a person to be their next persecutor. Boy, she was so mad. What I was saying was, you have all this experience, sis. Own how great you are. Go into the job. They will open the door for you. It ain't because you're a black woman. It's because you're desperate. Nobody wants desperate people. And the reason why they're saying that you're overqualified is because in your desperation, you're applying for jobs that you don't belong in. And you're going to create a hostile work environment that they've seen again and again and again. Stop telling yourself the story. They don't want a strong black woman in the room. No, they don't want a desperate woman or desperate person in their organization. You don't have to be desperate. Own who you are. And she got mad and she went back and forth a gazillion times and was just cussing me out and mad and all this other kind of stuff. But my opinion ain't always popular. Get out my inbox if you don't know the truth. All I was saying was, sis, was own how great you are. You ain't got to be desperate. Just tell them how great you are. They will believe it. That's it. She didn't get that part of the memo because she wasn't listening to my podcast. So, the 3 ways to prepare for a layoff. Number 1, get clear on how long you can survive. If you lose your job tomorrow, how much do you need? How long can you survive financially if it hits the fan? So you can ease your mind or you can start to do different things to stack your money. Number 2, be able to clearly articulate the value that you have to other organizations. And number 3, always be dating other organizations. And understand that we had a client that ended up getting a job at an organization they laid off 10,000 people in July. They hired her in August at $575,000. Just because people say, oh, my industry, people are laying off, that means that they actually have jobs. They laid off 10,000 people. If they've recaptured $80 billion in salaries, that means that they got $80 billion in salaries to pay out. They're looking for top talent. They're looking for people who know who they are. They are looking for women. Hello. Ding, 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 ding. They want women on their teams. They want senior women on their teams. They want senior women of color on their teams. They want senior black women on their teams. I say it again and again and again and again. My story has not changed in the past 4 years. The only thing that's changed is the number of women who have proven me right. $15 million in salary raises since 2020 and some of the toughest economic times in our lifetime. And I'm right. Prove me right. So with that, I'm going to open it up to any questions that we have, and then we're going to close out this podcast. You have any questions? Anybody got any questions? I would love to answer your questions.
So you have a question on the second point where you mentioned about taking adequate responsibilities and being able to articulate. So if does it also suggest looking for opportunities within the organization when you sense the situation is not rosy and making your path right? If you know you're not being looked at, or does it also always look, is it always suggested to look externally?
You can look internally too. Like 2 of my clients got promoted over their boss's boss, one in less than 3 months. And this was a lady in a different country, Filipino, and she was just working and burning herself out. She never stopped to take accountability for how great she was. So let's say this was during the Christmas holidays, otherwise we would have got it done in a shorter period of time. So once we started to write down the same thing I talk about on a resume, what she's done, she was like, oh my God, I didn't know I did all of this. Now she understands the value that she brings. So she asked her manager, we asked for 3 things. We wanted a 30% raise. We wanted her to go to the Harvard Business School equivalent in her country, which is Denmark at the time. And then it was one more thing that she asked for. Oh, she wanted the reporting structure to change because she wasn't reporting to the bosses she was supposed to report to. And so she asked in December. In January, they gave her I think 15% raise. Or it was 3% or 15%. It was a long time ago, like 2009. But it was what she didn't ask for. And so she was already talking to other managers because it was a large organization. They knew her. They just didn't know whether, and they had been offering her jobs and other opportunities. They just didn't know whether or not she was open to it because, as I talked about in the beginning, when people were asking me questions, I didn't know they were like sliding in to be like, are you open to other things? I was just so locked into what I was doing that I didn't hear that other people saw my value. And so she had 3 other jobs, 2 jobs in the organization, 3 that she was considering outside the organization. So you don't just look for one thing. Y'all got to go. You got to have at least 5, 6. You can't be getting heartbroken and spending all your time on one when they're dating 6 people. So when they gave her the 3% or the 15% raise, she went back to him. She said, what I said was, because now she's aware of who she is. She has these other opportunities. She's not falling for the okie doke. She's making her demand known. If you want to keep me, I'm okay if you don't want to rise to what I just asked for. I'm okay if you say no to what I just asked for. I don't have to stay here as a hostage. She said, let me repeat it one more time. I want this, I want this, and I want this. February 12th, they ended up they promoted her over her boss's boss. And she was like, Chris, I don't want to just limit myself to 30%. So she ended up getting more money. And this was 2019 when I wasn't as, between then, I've taken 3 negotiations classes at Harvard. We would have doubled that salary. But at the time, she got a 50, 60% raise. So it can be in the organization, but you can also look at outside organization, because outside, people who don't know you are going to value you a little bit differently. People who don't know you within the organization are going to see your value, and they may put a higher valuation on it. It's like if you're always going from CarMax to CarMax to CarMax to CarMax, and you're driving an Aston Martin, a luxury goods auto dealer is going to have a different valuation for you than CarMax will. That was a good example. So I wanted to be in the organization if you're in a large organization, and outside of the organization. All right, I got time for one more question. Any more questions?
No, I think money on one side is a difficult piece, because how long can you survive? I think it depends on how quickly am I looking at myself and upping my game.
No, that's not the question. That's not the question. The question is, how long can you survive financially if your job ended tomorrow? How much money you got in the bank before you lose your house or your car? Not before you can't pay your student loans, or you can't pay your credit cards, or before you can't pay, like, the essential things. If you got a child in private school, you may be able to barter with them. But how long? They give you 3 months on your mortgage, and I don't know, 2 months on your car before they come looking for you. But these are the things that keep women up at night, because they don't have an adequate story of what the truth is. So you stay in a job because you haven't stopped long enough to be like, okay, it cost me $5,000 a month in expenses to live. Now you got your other bougie stuff, but to live, it cost me $5,000 a month. I got $100,000 in the bank. Okay, I can live for 20 months. Or your expenses are $10,000 a month in the essentials, and you got $100,000 in the bank. You can last 10 months. You're not doing that calculation. How much do you have before you start losing assets? House, car, before you start, because I lost all of it, remember? So it's like I wasn't accounting for it. I was just doing too much as an entrepreneur. I knew I had enough to leave at the time. I had $100,000. I was making $100,000 a year. I had $100,000 in the bank. I quit. But I didn't focus on my mindset, and I didn't answer that question for myself, and I was doing too much, which is, mainly the things that I talk about today. So I want you to be able to take accountability of how much do you have, and then you be like, all right, so I need to now change my lifestyle to stack another 40 so I can be prepared when ish hits the fan. All right. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Again, Christy Rutherford, I'm your host. Like and subscribe to this podcast. Take care. See you in the next episode.